A rising tide lifts all boats. The focus of this podcast that I've created is to provide knowledge and insight for the next generation of entrepreneurs, brand builders, by diving into the minds of successful businessmen, entrepreneurs that have already established or continue to thrive in their business. My first ever guest is a personal friend of mine. He is a product of Oakland, somebody I have tremendous respect for, largely due to the fact that we have stimulating intellectual conversations. He's one of the guys that challenges me in my business as a man. Welcome my brother Mike Swiv to the podcast.
What's good, bro?
What's good, brother? Good to see you, man. Appreciate you for coming.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate you having me on. First guest, huh?
Yeah, man. No, we've been rocking for 10 years.
Right, longer than that.
Yeah, maybe longer. But let's talk about how we first became friends.
Okay.
All right. How do you recall it?
All right. So at that time, I was doing these University of California, Oakland hoodies. And I had a printer. I think my printer was way in San Francisco. And Tony, T-Time, he had hit me. He was
Shout out Tone.
Shout out Tone, man. He hit me and was like, yo, my big bro that I work with, he does a lot of the clothing stuff. And, he can help you with some printing stuff. And I was like, all right, that's cool. You know what I'm saying? Like for me, especially back in the day, I didn't, anybody's offering to help me for nothing. And I don't even know you, bro. Like, nah, I don't know about that. You know what I'm saying?
You was guarded.
Yeah, but because it was coming from a really close friend and Tony, I was like, all right, well, shit, let me tap in with this dude and just see,
Yeah. On my side, I remember because I met Tone just hooping at Bayfair. So we all of us hoop, right? Everybody in our circle, we all kind of have that foundation of basketball. I remember seeing the hoodies, and I told Tone, I was like, hey, man, your boy's rocking right now. Like, I just see it everywhere. So I told him, I was like, hey, bro, if he ever needs advice or help, holler at me. And the funny thing is, every time I come at people that way, a lot of the response I get is same thing, kind of how you came at me, or not came at me, but how you thought about the situation was like, man, I'm guarded.
100%.
What is his angle? What does he want? You know what I mean? And I felt like the first couple years of our friendship, bro, was proven to you, like, I really rock with you. I really want to help you. There's no angle. You know what I mean?
There's no rug pull.
No rug pull, But since then, man, we've grown a lot. What you've done in your respective space has been short of amazing. Let's talk about, what are you currently doing now?
Okay, so currently I manage a YouTuber, a sports YouTuber, the biggest football sports YouTuber, Deestroying. And we're also business partners, and we also, so I manage him, and we're business partners.
Dope.
Yeah.
Dope. How did you make that connection with D?
Oh, okay. 2017, one of my good friends, Marquette King, he hit me up and he said, look, I'm about to fly this kid out because he has an interesting story. So D's story is super unique. He was a college kicker, and he started making YouTube videos pre-NIL, right? So if you know what NIL is now, you can name it, image and likeness. You can make money off of, being a college athlete before you can do that, or else you lose your scholarship. So he was doing that, but he had a YouTube channel, and at that time, I don't even think he had, he maybe had like 100,000 subscribers, and he might have been making however much money he was making. And the NCAA said, you're either going to have to choose your YouTube channel or lose your scholarship. And he was going through this battle with the NCAA. I think he even went into a lawsuit, and Marquette had heard about that. And the reason why it was special to him is because, one, Marquette King was probably the only black punter kicker in the league, and D is a black kicker, right? So he was like, damn, that's crazy. So he hit him up. He said, I'm going to fly you out here. And we met them both together.
Right.
He came here.
I remember
that.
And
then we went to the Chinese restaurant down
Uncle
the street.
Wong. Shout out Uncle Wong's.
Yeah. So after that, when I met him, I was like, damn, this dude is like super genuine, super positive, just a good all around person. And we didn't really talk that much after, but we followed each other, stayed in touch. And then we didn't reconnect until COVID. So that's about 3 years later.
Right.
I would hit him up sometimes, be like, congratulations, I saw you crossed 1 million subscribers, 2 million, whatever it was at that time. And sometimes, he'll be like, appreciate it. Then another couple of times he might have just read my shit. But, it's all good, bro. I get it. You know what I mean? I've been there.
So when you met D, he was a good dude, but then you seen something in him. Yeah. When did you make that transition to where you were tapping in with him, seeing what's up, but then figured out, well, I could help, I could work with him, we could work together, and I could provide value?
Mm-hmm. So for me, even before I started working with D, I knew a lot of people, right? Just through whatever the football scene, and I was throwing parties and clothes and stuff like that. And I would always try to link up and try to help them with something. Maybe it was marketing, things like that. But I would always like get to a certain point, and then there would be some roadblocks or whatever, just for the simple fact that like these guys were millionaires already, right? And so it's kind of hard to explain to somebody that already has money, like, okay, we can make you more money here. Mm-hmm. And if the number ain't millions of dollars, then they're gonna be like, I'd rather just play the video games or something like that. So in 2020, me and D, I saw he was in LA. So I was like, oh shit, I'm in LA too. So we linked up and we just started talking, and I still didn't understand the YouTube game, right? Mm-hmm. Like 2020, I was green to it. The only time I use YouTube is I want to learn something or maybe be entertained. And he was just telling me about his business. Mm-hmm. And, at that point, I don't even think there was anything that I thought I could do for him, right? But it wasn't until during COVID, we all were kind of booming on the clothing side, like even me, you know what I mean? And the one thing that I implemented for everybody was that SMS marketing. People were using SMS marketing before, but I don't think they were using it how I intended it to use it. And I told you about this shit in 2017. And you were like, nah, that's a little too.
I remember that.
Like texting somebody, and I was like, I feel you. Yeah. And then 2020 came around, and I remember Christian, shout out Christian. This one, he was still Trillis, I think. Was he?
Yeah, he was still Trillis at that time. Mm-hmm.
And we were sitting there, and he was like, yeah, I got people opting in into my email list just so they can get early access. And that shit, when it clicked to me, and I was like, instead of email, I know for a fact text messaging is getting 99% open rates, 80% click-throughs, right? And we tried it with him first, and that shit was booming. We put that with everybody, including myself, with the Oakland Unified shorts, and it was booming. And D seen, you know what I mean, what we were doing. And at this time, it's 2021 now, and he's like, hey, I'm about to start a brand. Like, I need some help with marketing. And that's when we reconnected, and that's when I knew, like, okay, I could provide some value for him on that front.
Right. So listening to your story, a lot of thoughts coming to my head, right? I want to backtrack to how did you get to become the guy you are today with all the knowledge you have in marketing, in all these different avenues where you are providing value, right?
Yeah.
Did you go to school? Did you graduate from, what's your background?
Bruh, funny enough, man, like, I definitely didn't go to school. I didn't graduate. I didn't even graduate high school.
Word.
And
that's crazy.
The last grade I passed, like a lot of people don't even know, the last grade I passed was the 8th grade. I repeated the 9th grade 3 times just because I don't think I was ever dumb. I just wasn't focused. I had some other shit going on, family stuff. And,
so you're not a college dropout. You a high school dropout.
Almost crazy. Didn't even make it to past the 8th grade, bro. Yeah. I was really just on BS, like, but not like a bad kid. Just didn't go to school or anything like that. So yeah, no, definitely didn't go. Everything is just self-education, bro. And like, I knew at an early age that I wanted to do something. I wanted to be something. School wasn't the route for me because I think I get bored or I question things like, if I'm trying to be a business major, why do I got to take a science class or a geography class or, you know what I mean? It just never made sense to me.
It wasn't efficient.
Super early age. Like, I always used to say, man, I need to know math, English, you know what I'm saying? Right. And I don't even got to go past like geometry. Like, just give me basic, how do I count the money?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then so, Fast forward, I was working at AT&T because obviously I don't really have too many options at that point. I don't have a high school diploma. I got a GED.
Yeah.
But you know, they can look at that like, what is this, right? Like I know what it is. So luckily I was working in the mall at first selling cell phones, and then somehow, some way I ended up going to the AT&T store on Lakeshore. At that time it was singular. That's how old I am. You feel me? And they were like, when I went in there to buy something or swap out a SIM card or something. And as I came in there, it was like fate. 2 people were giving their resignation letters. Okay. And I was talking to the lady that was helping me, and we was cool. You know, we was bantering and stuff. Yeah. And I was like, hey, I sell cell phones right now. Can you give me a job? Because that was everybody's kind of like dream that worked at the malls selling cell phones.
Getting a flagship store.
Yeah, to work in a real store, because the stores, like, they were authorized retailers that we were working at. You wasn't making no money. I probably was making like $7 an hour or something.
Hey.
You know what I'm saying? And then I got a job. But then during that job, I just, you know what I mean? I was like, damn, I don't know if I want to work for people, because there was a lot of politics there too.
Yeah.
Right? So my first venture was a party. You know what I mean? Because I always wanted to do clothing. And I always wanted to do like events.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I guess because you know how to get it. Like you know, there's this thing that I feel like I have a knack for as well, right? Seeing opportunity and knowing how to quarterback it, right? Knowing how to put together a play, whether it's knowing somebody here and connecting the dots, or I know there's a need here. And I know how to create product or an experience that could fulfill that need. For sure. Right? I feel like that's something that you and I have in common.
Yeah, 100%.
Right? Selling cell phones in the mall, getting to that next level, going into a store, right? But then realizing that wasn't what you wanted to do. What happens after that? I mean, you realize that's like, you don't want to work for somebody. How does a high school dropout, you know what I'm saying, figure out a way to where you're not working for nobody, and you're not selling drugs, or you're not doing anything illegal. Yeah. Right. That's some, you know, I think that's something our viewers could really benefit from.
For sure. One thing I will say about AT&T and just being in the mall, like being in the mall trying to sell cell phones, you learn how to deal with rejection, right? Because hey, excuse me. People, if you're trying to peddle something, most of the times people are just going to walk past you, right? There are occasional times where somebody is going to stop and talk to you or whatever. But at the end of the day, like, most people, when they buy something, they don't want to be sold. You know what I mean? And so when I got to AT&T, that's when I really learned about like personalities, and like, you can't sell the same way to everybody. You have to kind of cater to the type of person they are. And that's when I kind of started figuring out different personality types.
Honing in your skill.
Yeah, just like honing in my skill, but also understanding how to communicate to different people, right? There's some people you have to be super aggressive with. There's some people that you have to be more passive with. And there's some people that you have to think that they made the decision, but in reality, you kind of guided them towards that, right? So during that time, like, it was paying the bills, and I knew that, again, what other options do I have? You know what I mean? I can't go do something else. Like, nobody's probably going to hire me. This is probably the best job that I can get, you know? And I think the first year I made probably like $50,000, right? Which is a lot of money to me at that time, right? Coming from $0. But I knew I wanted to do clothing, and I wanted to do events. And because I used to go to a bunch of parties, and I used to, you know, wear, back in the day was LRG, Academics, and Nietzsche, all that stuff. And so one thing, I was just always curious, right? Like, I never would just jump into something. I would always have to research. So I would go on YouTube was brand new, but it was forums back in the day. So on the clothing side, it was like t-shirt forums. And on the event side, I would just go to multiple events and kind of see how they were doing things, who they were inviting. Like, then you would have people, you know, posting the stuff for you. Yeah. So
you was breaking down the game, like reverse engineering by experiencing, going to a party or, that's, I mean, that type of research takes dedication. That, for me, I think that's critical, because without anybody telling you, you had to do the hard stuff, right? You had to do the not so glamorous parts of growing a business even before you started, right? I think that's a unique thing about you, where you don't have to have the gratification right away. You're willing to dedicate the time and put the research in, right? I think that's a skill, and that's a character trait that is definitely that a lot of successful people have. So you start doing parties.
Yeah, I did. I did my first party.
Yeah.
It was like
How old were you at this
20,
time?
21, fresh 21.
Okay.
2007. And so, again, I'm going to a bunch of parties, and I'm like, I always used to do this like fake math in my head, where I would count the people outside. It's 300 people at $20. That's 6,000. If they got to pay X amount of money, like everywhere I go, bro. I don't care if I'm sitting at a booming burger shop.
Little
I'm
Rain
like,
Man over here.
I'm like, oh, it's 20 people that just came in this hour, so let's just average that out to 15. They open for 10 hours. It's 150. Like, this is what I do, bro. I just don't know why. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I think there has a little bit to do of the fact that us as independent businessmen or entrepreneurs are calculated risk takers.
Sure.
You have to calculate,
100%.
you know what I'm saying, before you take a risk. That's essentially the stories that you've been telling me up until now. You're calculating the situation to make sure that if you take this risk, you got a high chance of succeeding.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We talked about, I remember, in one of our many conversations about risk, right? We always talk about, well, how much are we going to put out, and what's the break even, right? And so that's how even I do business. Anytime we have a product release, if I do 200 units and it costs me $20, I think about, all right, that's going to be a total of this. What is that? 4 bands. How many units at retail do I have to sell to get my money back?
Yep.
Once I get my money back, the pressure's off.
Yeah.
Right. So there's times I could try designs or try products knowing I could sell the minimum to break even. And if I don't, it's still a win because I tried it. I got my bread back. You know what I mean? And then I learned along the way. So, I think being a calculated risk taker is something that is critical for anybody that's, that wants to try their hand at being their own businessman or owning their own business, or, even being a consultant, just not having a 9-to-5, not having the security of a paycheck.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'll take it a step further. I know we talk about calculated risks and stuff like that, but just me being vulnerable now, like I learned how to, as I got older, be vulnerable. When I really look back at it, bro, I was just scared. You know what I'm saying? I was scared to lose. I was scared to lose money. Like, I came from glass half full. Like, glass half empty. That's who I was, bro. Like, I might not have showed it. I might not have told anybody, but I was just fearful, bro.
Right.
Like, just to keep it a buck with you. Like, so.
Where did that fear stem? Like, I know we talk about this a lot, right? Yeah. We both have that fear of rejection. When we were younger, trying to pop at girls, like, we had to make sure that they are, or at least eyeing us, or there was a vibe already before we even approach. Yeah. I know guys that'll get at 100 girls and get 99 no's.
Yep.
But get that one yes and they straight.
And they just keep going.
For me, I was never like that.
I can't be.
Right? That fear of rejection, it protects, and I think it helps us.
For sure.
But do you think it also hurts us?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there's times where, especially like, I would be successful at one thing or whatever, semi-successful, but I'll just stop, right? And because I'm like, you know what, it's doing well now, but I don't want to fall off. You know what I'm saying?
So that fear of falling off.
Oh man, I'd rather not make no more money than make a bunch of more money and then fall off. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather stop at the top. Right?
We call that self-sabotage.
I self-sabotage like a mug, man. Yeah. And so that's stuff I've had to deal with. And there's times too, like, like when we was running Instagram ads and stuff like that, or Facebook ads, and it was working, like the right thing to do was we're supposed to double down on you know what I mean, on the ads and spend more money and maintain the money coming back in, right? But it's just kind of like, I don't know, is it gonna work? Is it gonna keep working? It's one of them situations.
Yeah.
That's how, that's how it's definitely gotten better over the years. But
Yeah.
I
guess that's
a lot of work.
that goes into my next question.
Yeah.
How did you get past that hump? Right? How did you get past that fear of like self-sabotage? I'm gonna stop self-sabotaging and I'm gonna push forward to get, because you've gotten through and you've gotten to the next level a couple times over.
Yeah, I mean, I don't ever think, bro, that I really ever stop self-sabotaging, right? Sometimes I just got to push super hard, like harder than probably anybody else is doing at that time to even get through that hump, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm climbing mountains just to get baby wins. And that's on me though. You feel me? That's like it's in my mind. And I always said, bro, if I had a clear mind, I think that like I could have probably been doing some crazy stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's okay though. Like I actually enjoy, the trials and tribulations because it feels better too. You know what I mean? The wins mean more to me.
Right.
But little by little, just understanding that, if I do take an L, things are going to be okay. Even though I hate taking L's, man, they don't feel good. Right. I think a lot of times before it used to be about like what other people thought, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy because, everybody says, man, I don't care what anybody else is thinking, but a lot of people care about what people are thinking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, let's be real.
Let's talk about the psychology of that, sure. Right? You, like, we kind of have this in common, right? You'll be in a room with billionaires with a hoodie and some sweats on.
Yeah.
Right? Acting or putting this perception like you don't care what other people think.
Sure.
But in reality, you're doing that with the opposite motive. Because, explain that.
Yeah, so like for me, I always made it so whether I was up or down, you never knew which direction I was in, right? So because I would still wear the same clothes. When I had bread, I would be in the same clothes. When I didn't have bread, I was in the same clothes. So you can't really tell what's going on. So yeah, that was a defense mechanism.
Because you're from Oakland, that's how.
That was another thing too. Like being from Oakland, like the more that you have and the more that you seen with, like the more of a target you have, right? And I'm a walking lick, bro. You can come get me. It's too easy to come get me. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that was what it was. But then at the same time too, like these are the clothes that I'm the most comfortable in and just chilling. But that probably does have something to do with it subconsciously.
But
right?
on top of that, it gets people thinking, well, all these guys got suits on.
Yeah.
And he's in this room with a hoodie and sweats on.
Right.
What? Why? How? Right?
Yeah.
It gets people thinking that he may have something super valuable to offer because he can be in this room with a hoodie on or some sweats.
For sure.
Right? That's how I look at it, And
that's the reason why I feel like, so you asking how I got this knowledge and everything, bro. I'm a avid reader. It's hard for me to read too because I got ADHD, but I push through it. I listen to podcasts every single day. And like if the podcast that I like doesn't have a new episode on the day it's supposed to drop, I'm hot, bro.
Yeah.
Because I'm listening.
You're soaking up.
Every single day. And like I could listen to 3 hours of podcast, and if I get one nugget from it, I'm happy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Sometimes I gotta listen to 10 hours before I can get a nugget. But that's the reason, like just me being in that room, I know that I need to be equipped with this knowledge and then also understand what it is exactly instead of just, because certain people like just will listen to stuff and regurgitate, right?
Yeah.
I need to understand what this is and I need to be able to break it down.
So you're not just.
So I'm not saying, one,
robotically,
nobody can pull my card. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Because if you pull my card, like if you try to pull my card, I'm going to be able to, okay, this is what it is, this is what it is, right?
So know the game. Don't fake. Don't.
Sure.
You can finesse here and there, but having the knowledge and being able to use it and utilize it time and time again in your field of work is critical, right? A lot of fake it till you make it's out there, but as an entrepreneur, you gotta know your business front to back, right? You have to be the janitor, you know what I'm saying? Be the electrician when the power goes out.
Yep.
You gotta do everything. So whenever you hire people to do that part of the business, you know it enough to where you don't get played.
Sure.
You can be efficient and you can hire better.
Yeah.
Right. So, it's all, all these things that we talk about are critical. They're important,
Very important.
we talked about wins and losses.
Mm-hmm.
What is your biggest L that you've ever taken?
Damn. I think the biggest L is probably, it wasn't even that big. It was that first party I threw. So I remember, bro, like back in the day, I knew hella people, girls and dudes or whatever. And they would like, I was like, hey, can you give me your MySpace password? This is how old it was.
MySpace.
And I was posting the flyer on that shit, and it looked like it was getting a lot of buzz too, right? We were passing out flyers and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw like, before I'm like, damn, it looks pretty easy for people to do this. And so I think I spent like $2,000 for that, to rent the venue, to get the DJ, minimum bar guarantee.
So it was just you,
just me,
your party.
just me solo.
Okay.
Yeah. And I remember, bro, that night, I think probably like 10 people came, bro. I was sick, bro. And I know exactly what happened though, bro. I know what I should have did.
What?
The one thing I did not do, because when I was looking out the window, I saw a lot of people passing by. I didn't hold the line, bro. I didn't put people outside, and that really clicked. Because I remember I used to hear people say, they just holding the line, and I didn't know what that meant at the time, right? But what clubs do is, if shit is empty, they're not going to let people in so they can let the line build up. So passerbyers be like, oh, this look like it's popping. And then eventually it does become popping, because psychologically, that was my first taste of psychology, bro.
Yeah.
I didn't hold the line, bro.
Yeah.
And so at that time, I was really good with my money. I'm still good with my money, where I'll save, and I don't really buy too much. Like I said, I'm not buying clothes and shit like that.
Right.
Maybe more so food or trips or something like that. But it wasn't even the money that hurt me, bro. What hurt me was
10 people.
This is not even the 10 people, bro. I was talking cash money shit. Like, this shit about to have 300 people, bro. KMEL pulled up, bro.
Shit.
KMEL parked the truck outside because they thought it was going to be the biggest party. You know what I'm saying? And I was just like, 10 people, bro. I left my own party, bro, because I was so sad, bro. I was sick. I told my homie, man, just collect the money, man. And it wasn't even no money in there. Bruh. So that was the part that had me sick, bro, because I was telling everybody, we'll probably get like 200 people minimum, and at $20, you know what I'm saying? I'll probably make 4,000 or 5,000 that night. And but that was the part that had me sick. And you didn't
have to Rain Man that equation,
not
bro.
at all, bro. And so that taught me a lesson of, like, that's when I stopped talking so much, bro.
Yeah.
I stopped talking. Like,
let your business,
bro,
do the
just
talking.
let the business do the talking, because I never wanted to be in that position again. But yeah, that was the first L, bro. But I bounced back, man.
Yeah. So I mean, you kind of answered it already. What were your key learnings, right? Because L's are necessary. Failures are necessary in our line of work, right?
They don't feel good.
They don't feel good, but they're necessary.
Yeah.
Like you said earlier, they make the wins feel bigger,
For sure,
right?
for sure.
But they're the biggest moments that we learn, right? You put your hand in the fire, you get burned. You learn not to put your hand in the fire anymore. So what were your learnings? What did you learn from that L?
Yeah.
Obviously, to hold the line.
Hold the line, right? And then also, like I said, just stop talking so much. You know what I'm saying? Don't talk. That was the two biggest lessons. Hold the line, stop talking. And then that, again, the psychology aspect, that's what really got me interested in psychology was, okay, now I know that, like, people want what other people want, right?
Yeah.
So if I would have had that long line, we would have had a longer line.
Right.
Because, again, that's why when you look at, like, clothes or fashion or food, everybody's eating the same thing, wearing the same thing, doing the same thing, because, again, people want to be in the in crowd. It's herd mentality. You know what I'm saying? So that's
it's inevitable, though, right?
Yeah.
It's just something that we can't really control.
You can't control it. No, not at all. But if you understand that, then you can use it to your advantage.
Right. Transitioning over to kind of the essence of the podcast, right? Being a rising tide. How do you feel you help the people around you? What are your ways that you rise that tide so the boats around you could rise with you?
So like I said, man, I just love to research stuff because I figured out what actually moves the needle on a lot of stuff, right? That's why I study a lot of sales, psychology, marketing, and just what's some other stuff. That's mainly the three different things that I study.
Yeah, but those three branches can go
It's everywhere.
so
Exactly,
deep
exactly.
in thought. You
And
know what I
then
mean?
the last thing I added to my repertoire the last couple of years is just financials, right? So understanding profit and loss, understanding line items, and stuff like that. So
This don't sound like an 8th grade dropout, right? I'm telling you, like, the fact that he didn't even finish 9th grade still amazes me because of the conversations that we have. Like, it's crazy, bro. You know what I mean?
and that goes to show, man, what education can actually do for you, man. Because again,
Education when you have passion behind it,
For
right?
sure, yeah.
You're locked in. You want to
100%.
soak this game up.
love this.
You want to
I
learn
love it.
because you have passion around that,
Yes.
right? So I'm not saying college is a bad thing, school is a bad thing,
not at
right?
all.
There are people that are really interested in what colleges are teaching,
For sure.
right? Academics teach.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's their lane, that's their lane. I respect that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's not for everybody.
No. And I think a lot of the kids nowadays, because of the internet and they see what you can do besides going to college,
Yeah.
I think they have different options nowadays, or at least they think they have different options.
I mean, they do,
Yeah,
right? With
sure.
social media and with everything so at your fingertips,
Mm-hmm.
you can provide value,
Yep.
and you can, numbers don't lie.
For sure.
If you start something and, the data shows that you're succeeding, what you need a degree for, what you need somebody to tell you you're worthy.
No,
Your numbers are
100%.
telling you that.
Especially now too, like a lot of people graduating college with debt, they can't get a job, so then they go back to school, and then they still can't get a job. They go
Right,
back to school or their job. You know what I mean? Like there's so many good candidates now. There's not enough good jobs, right? So now you kind of got to settle. Well,
So
not for everything, but
Yeah. So with all that knowledge
Yeah.
that how are you uplifting those around you?
Yeah, so like again, when I'm learning about sales psychology, marketing, I'm hitting everybody up that I know that's within my circle that are doing something, right? So like when I was big into Facebook ads, learning,
Yeah.
I would hit you up like, bro, you got to get this, throw
Yeah.
a pixel on here, or even back in the day, like again, I remember we was all on Big Cartel first, and then I was doing research, and I was like, man, I got to get on this Shopify shit. This was 2012 when we were
Right.
doing the beast mode stuff. And then I'm finding out about MailChimp. So everything I get super excited about, and I'm like, you could use this, you could use this, you could use this. So whatever I think, and my circle's not even that big.
Right. So you was giving the game. You were helping everybody around you with the knowledge. So everybody could be efficient. Everybody could get better at what they were doing, right?
Yeah.
But you weren't always like that.
No,
Like you said, you were guarded.
for sure.
You took care of yourself first. You made sure you was
Yeah.
straight
Yeah,
because of your upbringing.
for sure.
How did you change? What made you change?
Yeah, I think like you said, man, just being guarded and not and being around like people that maybe was taken from me and it didn't feel good. But to be honest, it's my relationship that I had with you, and you were always so giving. You was always like you said, it took like 2-3 years for me to really like, hold on, bro, like when is
Bro,
this,
you know how
when
good
is-
it felt when he was like, hey, man, it's been a couple years. I've been trying to find an angle, but there's no angle, bro.
Yeah.
You really was rocking with me because you wanted to help me. You didn't ask for nothing. You weren't. And that was something I don't know. It felt good to finally get that validation. Like, bro, I've been telling you,
Yeah.
I want to help you, bro.
For sure.
And the people that I choose to help, I want to help. There's no angle, bro. I'm never
Sure.
like, oh, I'm gonna pour in. I'm gonna help this dude get up. So when he's up, I'm gonna get bread from him, or I'm gonna get benefit from him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And that's when it happened though. Like
Yeah.
when you was so giving, I was like, I'm around some good people right now. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I gotta pour back into them. Like I've never been a selfish person like that. Only when I'm around selfish people. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so like when I got around giving people, I was like, damn, bro, I can't let them just give me everything. You know what I mean? I got to
Yeah.
do something in return. So again, it was just me trying to educate myself and then just
Yeah.
seeing where I could give the game of what I learned to them. And it wasn't even really like giving them game like that.
It was actually.
But yeah, it was.
So I got a little story
Yeah.
to tell about one of our little things that we did. I remember one night or one day you came to me, you was like, bro, how are you shipping all these orders? Now you getting 100 orders at a time, 200 orders at a time. And at this time, bro, I was manually shipping every order.
Yep.
I had an Excel list, what I had to put in every customer's order, and I was manually shipping one at a time, bro. I think 50 orders took me like 4 hours.
Yeah.
Right. And I remember one time and I was fine with it because I didn't know any better.
Yeah, no.
And I remember you came to the office and you were like, bro, you got to try MailChimp. No. ShipStation. It was ShipStation. I was like, man, I'm cool.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that, man. And you were like, bro, I promise you, it's going to change the game for you. It's going to benefit you, bro. Just try it.
Yep.
And for like an hour, I was like, no. And we damn near got into an argument.
For sure.
Because I was like, bro, what I got to change for? We good.
Yeah.
I'm making money where I'm feeding my family. Like, I don't need to change.
Yep. We had a few of those conversations.
And I remember you forced me. We was yelling at each other.
Yep.
So why you so damn stubborn, bro? Just try it. I'll sit here with you and install it.
Yep.
And it took us 3 hours, bro, to install.
You had to call PayPal.
We had to call. Yep.
It was PayPal.
It wasn't even Shop. Was it Shopify?
No, you was using Big Cartel at that time.
Yes, we had, but it was a headache. Basically, installing ShipStation to communicate with my website, with my e-commerce, and I was hot, bro. We were here till maybe 9:30, 10 p.m. And I was cussing at you. I was like, man, this is stupid, bro. It's never gonna work.
Yep.
ShipStation is one of the most valuable tools as an e-commerce retailer.
That's like the leader now.
Dude.
You know what I mean?
So from shipping 50 shipments in 4 hours, we're able to process 1,000 shipments in like an hour.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And so we just became so efficient. Yep. And you brought that into the circle. And then what did I do? I told, who cares? I told Trillis, Christian, I said, hey, we got to do this. You guys have to sign up for this because it's a game changer. Yep. And now, you know, when it really started popping for us, right? Shortly after the pandemic, we wouldn't have been able to grow if we didn't have that in place.
Oh, y'all would have been fucked up.
We'd have been,
fucked up.
Bad. It'd have taken a month. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Where if we get 2,000 orders, because we got to the level where we were shipping out or collecting 2, 3, 4,000 orders in a span of 5-10 minutes, bro. Right? So we got to experience that. But that little piece that you freely gave got us to the point where we were able to make that, and we were able to sustain the scalability. Yeah. We were able to scale up because of these efficiencies. So that's just one of my stories of how he, you know, Swiv pays it forward. You know what I'm saying? That definitely rose the tide for us to kind of get up there with, you know, and succeed at that level.
But even how I figured out ShipStation, right, is because I see problems that people don't see. Just like you said, you didn't see it as a problem, right? Yeah. For me, we was doing a beast mode shit, and we was missing orders because we had to write stuff down manually. We're calling it out. Hey, who got the 2X back here? It matches with, check the, I'm like, it's got to be a better way. Yeah. So I started researching and doing a bunch of just trying to figure out, like I'm Googling stuff. Like I feel like I'm a master Googler. You know what I'm saying? Where I could just, how to be efficient with shipping, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I'm always trying to see things that like most people are not paying attention to because either they don't know that it shouldn't be that way. Yeah. Because again, it shouldn't be that way. And then that's how I found ShipStation, was just Googling around and trying to figure out a solution. And that's how I've always been, bro. Just try to be more efficient, spot a problem that most people probably don't even know is a problem, and then try to figure out a solution from there.
So you freely gave that game, right? You paid it forward in a sense to me and to our, you know, our circle here. What are your thoughts on giving the game like that to everybody? Does everybody deserve that? Or are you selective on who you give the game to, or you share this knowledge with?
Yeah, I mean, I think so, because one, there's two components to that. One, my circle is very small, right? I don't even have that many people to talk to. And then two, I know for a fact that most people you give the game to that ask you for the game, not going to do anything with it, right? So the ones that I like to give the game to that are not in my circle are the ones that I see doing something, right? They're actually putting in the work to actually do the thing instead of saying they're going to do the thing, right?
Yeah.
And if they're like, like one of my favorite analogies that I said is, if your car breaks down and you're sitting on top of the roof with a sign that says "Help me," a lot of people are going to pass you by. But if you jump out that car and you trying to push that thing, people are going to jump out and try to help you push, right? So I'm one of them people that's going to help you push, right? I might pass you by if you're just sitting on the side. I'm just keeping it real. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna keep it real. You gonna pass them by regardless.
Nah. I done helped some
you
people.
like, man, hey, that might be a lick. They might be setting me
up.
up.
A lick too, but
come on, bro.
But you get what I'm saying though. Like, I like to help the people that's trying to help themselves.
Yeah.
And that's when I'm ready to give the game, right?
Yeah.
And then, still they may do something what it may not do, but that's okay. I just respect the fact that you're actually trying to do something.
Yeah. You know what's weird with me? Like, when people aren't expecting, I'm down to be generous. I'll give the game. I'll help them with whatever I can help them with. But when I know people are expecting that from me, I don't know why, bro. I don't want to help.
It's just entitlement, Nobody likes anybody that's entitled.
Yeah, I don't know. I've always been that way when I was a kid. Like, I used to hustle in high school. I'd have bread in my pocket, and I'd go, and if my friends were cool with it, like, oh, we'll go to. I remember going to Caro's. You know what I'm saying? In the mid-90s, like, that was it. That was balling back in the day. High school kid, hey, let's go to Caro's, bro. We finna get the sampler platter, and I paid for everything because I had bread.
Yep.
It wasn't until I remember we were going out, and one of my homies was like, come on, let's go to Caro's. And I was like, oh. And a couple people were like, no, I'm cool, man. I don't got no bread. And my boy was like, bro, Mike got it.
Ooh.
The second I heard that, I was like, nope, I don't got it.
Got it for you, brother.
You know what I'm saying? Every other time, I wasn't tripping.
For sure.
But
as soon as he thought it was going
to
happen,
nope. And we went out there, they ordered. I'm like, hey, bro, I'm just getting mine. I got my little burger.
Yeah.
I got $12 and they was stuck. You know what I mean? I don't know. That's one thing in my mind that's like when people are, maybe because I feel like they're taking advantage.
Yeah.
I
get that.
But, for the general purpose, I'm always more willing to be giving and help people. But I think that's one of the qualities, like you said, like I want to help people that are already helping themselves.
Yeah, at least attempted to.
Right. So we've been talking about stories from your past here to your present. And I heard a lot of like kind of big names, man. What are some of the biggest names you've worked with in any capacity since you started your career?
I mean, probably the big one was around 2012 was Marshawn Lynch. I convinced him to start Beast Mode. We started it out in my apartment in Oakland. And that was like really the one that I feel like where I learned a lot, like early on, right? Because I got to be privy to a lot of behind the scenes stuff that most people never get to see, never get to hear. And I think that unlike some people that may be in certain circles and stuff like that, maybe they didn't pay attention, right? Like, I was really wanted to know what was going on. Like, so I was listening on whatever, if he had phone calls on speakerphone or if he let me come to a meeting with him, like
soaking game.
I'm soaking up game, and I'm actually just trying to understand what's going on. So I would take notes like nobody would know, and I would Google all the terms I didn't understand. Yeah. And that way, But he was probably the biggest one.
Marshawn. Deestroying.
And a lot of different people through D or through Marshawn, but never like directly. I mean, we did some stuff with Josh Jacobs. A lot of times, like I said, like we actually, when I was throwing concerts at the time, my business partner gave Sue, I think it was I Am Sue, his first paying show. Dope. And this was like P-Lo was there and the whole HBK gang and the rest of those guys. And so I built a good relationship with them during the 2012 run that they had. Yeah. And it's still cool to this day when I see them, whatnot. But it's a bunch of different people that I've met throughout, but in terms of like doing something with them or whatever. But
now as a business partner, a business manager of somebody that is, a celebrity.
Yeah.
you're in rooms now with big
Oh, man.
names, right?
I was in a couple of rooms before that was, prior to D, but
Yeah.
yeah, these rooms that I'm in now, bro, is like it's wild. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like
What
wild.
what so being in rooms and meetings with billionaires or highly like A-list
Yeah.
celebrities or high very influential people, um what are your main takeaways from that? What are the main things that you're soaking up or um learning in these new rooms that you're in?
Yeah, man. It depends. It's case by case, right? Certain rooms, I get my mind blown by some of the stuff that people are saying. Certain other rooms, maybe I'm hearing things and it's validating the thoughts that I've already had or things that I've already learned.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I'm not gonna say there's not a lot of things that I haven't already learned, but like I really spend time trying to consume a lot of things. So I really get excited when I hear things I don't know about. You know what I mean? But yeah, bro, I've heard things from billion-dollar deals, multi-million-dollar deals, and just the ways that like people are making money so easily just on relationships. And like there was people talking about, oh yeah, we're in certain hedge funds that we're going to do 20-30%, or maybe I'm exaggerating, but just because we know XYZ person, right? I remember there was a guy that told me that he got one of these athletes into a pre-IPO situation where he was getting stocks before it IPO'd, and they knew they were already going to 4 or 5x their money before it IPO'd. And I was just like, how do we get in those, those situations, right?
Those are
But,
crazy.
bro, yeah, like sometimes I'm just also realizing that a lot of these people too are like, they're not superheroes either. You know what I mean? So like you kind of bring them back, it kind of brings it back down, and you kind of start being like, damn, like, okay, well, I kind of can be in these rooms.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like they don't know that much more than me, but they're obviously more successful than me, but I have a chance to catch up to them.
Facts. So, one of the last things I want to talk about is what you just said, success.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody has a different view of what success is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even ourselves, success, the definition of success was different when we were 21 versus what it is now.
Yeah.
What is your definition of success?
Yeah, I think I mean you hear this a lot. The word thrown around is like freedom, right? Freedom is one thing, and then I want a lot of money, but not for the same reasons why most people probably want money. Or a lot of people want things.
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily want things. There's a couple of things I probably want, but more so I want money for convenience and security, right? The security portion is me, my family, my people are good.
Yep.
Right? We don't got to worry about bills, or we don't have to worry about if somebody gets sick or something, how are we going to afford it. And then the convenience aspect is like, I want to DoorDash more. I want to ride in Ubers more. I want to fly comfortably, you know what I mean,
Right.
in first class or something, right? That's what that means, and be able to move around and do what I want to do when I want to do it, right?
Yeah.
And not be confined to having to do something or be. I mean, if it's business related, like I'm cool with that because I enjoy business, but,
Right.
But because I want to do it.
Yeah.
So that's success for me, is just being free, having security, and the convenience to do things.
Freedom, security. You got that peace of mind, right?
Sure.
Because we talk about that all the time. Like, you want to have peace.
Yeah.
Right. So that peace and freedom is time. And then up here mentally, you're free.
For sure.
So you don't have things weighing down, the pressures that all of us kind of have to deal with sometimes, right? Paying the bills, making ends meet.
Yeah.
And yeah, like, to me, I share that same ideal. It's not about things. It's about experience.
Yep.
Creating memories, being able to do those things, being able to have the freedom to golf 4 days a week.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Where people are like, damn, how can you do that?
Yeah.
I'm not flossing a new Rolex, and I'm not talking like I got bread $1 million, and I'm not walking around with crazy jewelry on, right? But I got freedom.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And the crazy thing about that is there's some really, by our definition of freedom, I know some really successful men and women that make less than $50,000 a year, right? They keep their life simple.
Yeah.
They don't accumulate the things and they don't accumulate bills. So they have the same freedom as someone that makes 2 million, 3, 4, 5 million a year, but then has all the bills,
Sure.
right? So yeah, I mean, that's pretty profound. That new ideal of success is that freedom, is that convenience, is peace of mind. You know,
gotta have that bread too nowadays.
you have
know what I'm saying?
well that provides
For sure.
the peace of mind.
Yeah, yeah.
It provides the security.
Yep.
So you're stressing less.
100%.
So yeah, man. Like I said, I appreciate you coming on to the show for the very first
I
episode.
appreciate you having me, man.
You know, I wish the best for what you got going on. Last question.
Yeah.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Oof. Man, I think me and D, I told him, when we first started working together, like that was in 2021, like in a full capacity. So that's been about 3 and some change now. I told him I want to be able to retire, and it doesn't mean we're not working, but the ability to say, if we want to walk away within 5 to 7 years, something like that, right? So that's 3, so I got 4 more years to, on the long end, to be able to say, we're done. So how do we get there though, right? So whether it's through making a bunch of cash and then investing in, and then we living off of dividends, or build up a business, we have an acquisition, or the business is spitting out cash flow. That's where I want to be, and then to be able to maybe focus on the things that are more simple, where I'm not, whether stressed out about business or trying to figure out how to make more money. Because again, the stress and stuff of a business, like that shit could get real, right? And if the ups and downs, like that's always gonna get you. So just not having to deal with the ups and downs later. But I would still probably be doing something, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, hopefully I'm able to retire and then doing something that is probably more chill or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe
still intellectually challenging.
For sure.
Yeah.
I gotta be, man.
Right.
I gotta be. Maybe that's helping people. Maybe that's investing. I mean, because there's so many things that we want to do, right? There's so many different businesses that we want to tackle. But like I always tell D, like, yeah, I have a lot of ideas. You have a lot of good ideas, but we can't swing at everything, right? Because one, it's only one of you, it's only one of me. And so, yeah, we can build up a team, but what's the point of swinging at something that's, a little ball? We want to swing at a big ball.
Right,
you know what I'm saying?
right.
And that's why, like, even when I look at what Warren Buffett and some of those prolific investors say, they say sometimes they make one investment a year and they're happy with that, right? And
don't spread yourself too thin.
Yeah, don't spread yourself too thin, or actually like focus on the opportunity that can actually be really big. And I think that we have a couple of things that that is a big opportunity that we can do well on, and I hope that we can execute on that. So,
oh man, I appreciate you, brother. Thank you for coming.
Yeah,
Rising Ties, we out.
Yo, man.
Peace.